Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has been the place to shop for your industrial needs for over 20 years. Carrying the tools you need to get the job done from the brands you can trust, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has you covered. Brands like Milwaukee Tool, established in 1924 and on display in our Milwaukee Red Zone, the largest red zone in Winnipeg. With construction workers and tradespeople in mind, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools is your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. So come on down to our Winnipeg store location today, located on 1557 King Edward Street in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Welcome in, Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League fans, into this Friday night edition of MMJHL Playoff Game Day, as I stutter to start things off here on G-Show Productions Uscreen page on gshowproductions.uscreen.io. I'm your host and play-by-play commentator for tonight's action, Graham the G-Show Forsyth. We're brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, and goaltenders. This matchup tonight, the Fort Garry Twins looking to make it into the Final Four for the first time in over a decade, up 3-0 on the 8th seed in the Raiders Junior Hockey Club in tonight's action. Thank you for paying the $5 admission fee, MMJHL fans, for tuning in to this one. That's going to take place at 7 Oaks Arena. As through the first games of this series, as we'll take a look at this year's start to the MMJHL Playoffs as the postseason, brought to you by Ice Wave Media, as well as our sponsors, as they supply these fantastic pictures for us to use in our playoff poster this year. But yeah, officially, the St. Boniface Riels last night becoming the first team to punch their ticket into the Final Four round, their second year in a row doing that, as they made it last year, where they defeated the Fort Garry Twins in 6 games. For Fort Garry, it's looking like a different story potentially this year. They still got to close out the Raiders, and you know the Raiders, if this team isn't going to go down with a fight, without a fight, in my opinion, as this is a team filled with youth, but maybe too much inexperience, as the Twins got plenty of experience and are looking to, of course, make it into the Final Four for the first time in over a decade, looking to become the second team to do so, as the St. James Junior Canucks and Transcone Railer Express playing tonight, as well as Charleswood and Stonewall, both of those series. The higher seed, the second seed in the Hawks, up and theirs against the Jets, but the lower seed in the 6th-seeded St. James Junior Canucks up 2-1 over the 3rd-seeded Transcone Railer Express. Could it be an upset? Who knows? As we take a look at what's to come this weekend in the MMJHL's playoff action, as you're watching the MMJHL postseason on G-Show Productions. Potentially 3 games on Sunday, but there could very well be 2 if the Twins are able to close out tonight, we'll be carrying Transcona and St. James, their Game 5 at East End Arena this Sunday afternoon. Check back in on the MMJHL's website at mmjhl.ca for details from the scores throughout this game, and we'll have scores to report as well throughout the intermissions of this one to keep you all up to date with what's going to be happening tonight around the MMJHL. But as for how the playoffs have gone so far, as we take a look at how St. Boniface's sweep happened, started off with a huge comeback in Game 1 last Friday, a week ago from tonight, as they were down 4-0 against St. Vital in that Game 1 and scored 5 unanswered, the game winner coming into overtime. That set the tone for St. Boniface to really take control in that series as, last night, 3 goals in just over a minute. Unreal stuff from St. Boniface as the puck luck and skill going all in their favor throughout their series, and of course, one of the most skilled teams in the league, a team that we're predicting to go to the finals this year against this Fort Garry Twins team that they could become, of course, the second team to join them in the next round if they're able to pull off this sweep. And as we pull up the keys to the game here, on the brink are the Fort Garry Twins. As mentioned, it would be since over a decade since they've last made it into the Final Four. They've had their moments. They've been close, most notably back in 2022-2023 against St. Vital in Game 7, up by about 3 goals with 10 minutes left to go in that game, and St. Vital scored about 5 unanswered to send themselves through. So since then, Fort Garry, of course, last year they finished as the 6th seed. They're the first place team this year, and they're firing all cylinders. Can they break that curse tonight? That's what it's all about getting back to the Final Four, and they're looking for 20 consecutive wins. They're at 19 in a row right now, as this squad has been an absolute train this season. An absolute wagon, as I should say. That's the term I was looking for. I just couldn't think of it off the top of my head. As for the Raiders, it's been growing pains for them in these playoffs. They got kind of close in game number 1, led the Twins at one point in that game through the first period, but then the Twins battled their way back, and since then it's been all Fort Garry in this series. But it's a youth movement this year for the Raiders. No players that are 03 born, so they'll have no players aging out, and they got nothing to lose. This is a great experience all around for this team here tonight, who is looking to keep their season alive. Do they have one last win in them, potentially, to keep this series going, and maybe you can catch momentum from there and shock this Fort Garry Twins team? As for Fort Garry, they're looking to send themselves into the Final Four. The best team in the league this season, the first seed, for the first time in a long time. We'll have the first period coming up here, national anthem coming up, as you're watching MMJHL Playoff Game Day on G-Show Productions U-Screen channel. Thanks again for paying the $5 admission fee, ladies and gentlemen, and choosing us to watch this game. Enjoy. And MMJHL fans, welcome in to MMJHL Playoff Game Day. Thank you so much for paying the $5 admission fee to watch this one on our Uscreen platform. 50% of our profits go back to the MMJHL. So we split the revenue 50-50 between us and the league. This matchup tonight should be a good one. We could be seeing a moment that hasn't happened in a very long time as the Fort Garry Twins look to punch their ticket into the Final Four, looking to join the St. Boniface Riels, where that could very well be a semifinals matchup. That could take place, but first things first, take care of business here tonight. Don't give the Raiders any life, as this team, no 0-3s on the Raiders roster. As we drop the puck, we are underway, so you gotta fix the period to the first. As it's into the Fort Garry end to start things off. It'll be Matani, co-defenseman of the year for a second year in a row, sends us in deep after getting knocked off the puck off the side of the net. Matani goes, this turned over, but Medwick, good on it as he's on the wall, drops this back. Medwick gets it right back. Medwick looking to take it to the net, but ends up going off of his stick. Gets it back to Matani as the net off, I believe. Something I feel like happens at this ring quite a bit. As we get into the starting goaltenders, brought to you by our sponsoring goaltenders, your goalies, personal video review services. Jackson McLeod for the Twins getting the second start of the postseason, and Evan Benera, number 30 for the Raiders, who's in the pipes, that has played 2 games so far. Brought to you by goaltenders. Gordy Tomlinson, goalies.ca is where you can find more info on them. As this puck sent in deep into the Fort Garry zone. Matani pinned up along the boards. This to Cromie. He fends on that chance as Hugin tries to swat it away. This time he gets it on the backhand, and look out. Hugin into the roof. As he launched that one into the ceiling here at Seven Oaks Arena. But for Fort Garry, they're extremely hot. We haven't seen a team this hot since the Raiders back in 2014-15 to close out a year as the Raiders rode a 14-game win streak heading into the postseason. So they were the first-place team that season. This Twins team, the first-place team as well. Gorchinski has 7 points in this postseason, mostly assists, as he's out there with the top line, Halamandaris and Belshaw. That pass behind Halamandaris, he couldn't reel it in, but Gorchinski, good recovery, good forecheck, gets a stick in the lane. Halamandaris has that sent out of play off of the Raiders' stick. So we get a face-off in the Raiders' zone. But for Fort Garry, I'm not even sure if they're thinking about the win streak. Their head coach, Scott Wong, very process-driven, and he's got this team playing the right way. I've been a huge critic of the Twins coaching staff throughout these, I guess this year, specifically, but then they really turned things on. Haven't lost since early December. And this is the best Twins team that I've probably ever seen constructed during my time watching this league. As this, onto the stick of Gorchinski, lobs it to the net to Belshaw, denied, Halamandaris scores! Picks up the trash, number 22, gets things rolling. It's Fort Garry who breaks the ice with 18-18 left in this first period of action. And this play created by the 101-point man in Gorchinski during the regular season, as I should say, as in the playoffs he had 6 assists heading into tonight. Gorchinski just lobs this to the net after picking in the pass off a clear-out attempt by this Raiders team. It's Belshaw who makes a nice deke. That's stopped by Benera, but Halamandaris is there for great support to put it home. That first goal of the game brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, our first period sponsor, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Should check out their website at cancentralsportscards.com for more details. That past the stick of Gilberto. This Raiders team looking for a quick response here. We'll wonder if they'll get it. Logan Ash bumped off the puck. As he regains balance. This is picked up and sent off the wall by Luca LaForges. As this sent right back in to the Twin zone. Number 14 in Livingstone sends it into the direction of Canoe. Chapman's going to be the one to take this away. Cutting off the wall as Chapman knocked off the puck now. Turned over. That shot from the point turned aside by Bonera. So it's number 15 in Kobilski who ends up taking that shot. Newcomer to this Twins team as the season's gone along. There's a draw one by the Raiders as they go D-to-D up to Darrett off the boards. He has that intercepted by Matani. Nice move as he goes inside, outside. Dishes it off to Canoe towards the net. That pass gets blocked up. Matani in for support, takes this puck away. Protecting on the backhand. Now across to, I believe, number 6. How's that covered up? It's Bonera. Number 6 and Ethan Johnson with the shot. Point man, he's been such a huge addition to this Fort Garry Twins team, dating back to last year when they got him at the trade deadline. Compliments Sam Matani so well, and you could argue very well that this, the top D pairing in the league. I'd say for my money they are this year. As that into the slot, Medwick just fires wide of the net. Matani jumps up from the line. Tries to spin away from the check-in, but instead has that turned aside. Medwick has that stripped away, and it's Larenko who ends up getting bumped by Matani along the wall right into the linesman, delayed offside on the play. As the Twins get this back, worked across onto the stick of Johnson, who tries to mohawk to protect that, but has it taken away. This drop to Hugan now. His shot deflected all the way through. Rebound there, denied by Bonera. Medwick on the doorstep. This held in by the skate of Johnson. Batted out now by number 15 in D'Souza to Karomi. To Larenko. Has D'Souza heading to the net. Shot instead. The pass was there, but Larenko elected to try to fire that puck. Great defense by Johnson to block that. Splitting through the defense now is Medwick. Kicks us out to Hugan. Fires this across to Lizotte as he gets it right back to Hugan. Took it off the boards was Lizotte. Now gets it to Hugan again. Hugan spinning away from the check-in down low, protecting strongly along the boards. Now loses his balance, but keeps us alive by sending it down low. So he thought as the Raiders pick it off. Is going for a skate. Number 23 in Wilson is at the line, dangles, makes his way through another nifty move as he's into the corner. Wilson off the boards to Kennedy, is up to the line to Jackson Zook. His shot low and just wide of the net on McLeod. Is this stretched up by the Twins? Off the mark though, as it's going to be an icing. As this will bring the face off all the way back into Fort Garry's end. And as for the Raiders this year, they dropped a spot lower in the standings. They finished as the 7th seed last year. Got swept against the Pembina Valley Twisters, who ended up making it to the finals against the St. James Unit Canucks. They're in danger of being swept again. But for James Barkley and his group, starting off here down 1-0. I think the most important thing right now is to just look for a shot, which Larenko was trying to do, but had a pass available moments ago. Now that off the skate into the slot. Now that fired by Kennedy, but turned aside by McLeod. His first test of the game, and he answers it well. A nice save to allow for Fort Garry to break out, but they have it taken away as Enerson fires this shot just over the glove of McLeod. This rims around to Gilberto, and the Twins make their way up by Salamanderis. Has Gorchinski heading to the net, trying to break his way through instead as Salamanderis plays it to his captain and Gorchinski. To Gilberto, his shot blocked up on the way through as Gorchinski now held down, and penalty coming up on the play. We'll just decide, or have to see what it is. Or no, the net off. Apologies. Second time that's happened now. Supposedly the refs letting them play in this one. You'll have to see it. As for Fort Garry, been very good on special teams though so far. 31.3% on the power play. And they got a loaded unit. 2 loaded units at that, but the first one unbelievable when all of their best players on the ice with each other. Is this taken away by Logan Ash? Hasenchuk into the net with him. Ash tries to send it over, but spins out into the boards. Instead, LaForge's off the boards to number 16 in Matthews. He makes his way through. What a move by 16. Wraparound chance, pass out in front. Oh, that not in. Somehow Neufeld unable to finish. We remain 1-0 for the Twins. They were so close to extending the lead. Nice pass up to LaForges. That shot through, blocked up by Ash. As Ash bends off a stick, plays this up the boards, but intercepted and out. As the Raiders get this all the way into the Twin zone, LaForges has to spin away from the white side. Pressure. As nice move by LaForges. Passes off the boards to number 14 in Livingstone, who gets banged into the boards hard there by number 20 in Darren Zook towards the slot. That tip but into a Twins player, so blocked up. Whiteside off the boards in deep. Chapman, but no, out of his reach. It gets to Zook instead on the rim around. Whiteside gets us back to the point to Wilson. This somehow stays in. Thought that looked out. This blocked up by Neufeld. Tries to chip it out, but Zook ends up cutting them off. Now the Twins do fire it down. Ice and waved off by the linesman with 12:27 remaining. It'll be stretched through the middle, intercepted back into the Twin zone as Ethan Johnson out with Matani. Passes this off to number 23. Drops this back to Canoe as Canoe sends this in deep, but intercepted. This all the way back down into the Twin zone. Just looking to dangle his way past. It's number 23 in Ludzinski. As that shot fired on net, turned aside by Benarin, covered up with 11:49 remaining. It's our first period, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, located on 995 Milton Drive. Be sure to check them out today, or I guess not today since they're closed now, but when you get a chance, should check them out. Great selection for sports cards collectors, memorabilia collectors. You know, they got stuff for people that may be interested but not regular collectors. They got things for everybody that may be into sports cards and stuff like the memorabilia they sell, so be sure to check them out, as well as on their website. Check out the selection they have at Can Central Sports Cards. As this pass behind Medwick, as he protected it well, makes his way in, drops it to Hugan. That shot just went on the net off the backboards, but fanned on by Lazat. So Lazat gets it back, passes to Medwick, but he's covered up well by Jared. As this passed over onto the backhand of number 18 in Larveld, as it gets sent back in to the Raiders' end. Is behind the back pass onto the stick of Jared. The Raiders still searching for ways to break out of the zone against a very good Twins forecheck. This off the boards to Hugan as he collides into the boards. Going over top of him was Larveld, as both players okay. This is stripped away now by Larenko, and he looks to get the speed. This Raiders team looking to get to the net. Larenko stood up well by number 20 in Matani, but puck still in the Raiders' possession in the corner. It's Cromie out there with Larenko. This up the boards. Now on to Hugan's stick. Is Hugan going to go inside, outside, and he does. Back to the inside. Hugan still has it on his stick, has it stripped away. Now on to number 19 stick in Lazat, but he gets stood up at the line. Allows for Cromie. Oh, runs into the linesman. Unfortunate luck there for number 27, but the Raiders will get rewarded by getting a power play for a slash coming up to number 19 in Lazat. So we'll leave Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia on the screen. Bring up the Raiders power play graphic as the Raiders have to get this, well, have had a pretty solid power play so far in terms of just how good Fort Garry's penalty kill was in the regular season. Firing on 20% so far for Garry with an 80% penalty kill. As the Raiders can move the puck around, especially when they have their best players on the ice. That tipped in the bumper position by Ash, turned aside right into the chest of number 30 in Jackson McLeod. As this sent out of play by Matani. This puck will stay in the Twin zone for another face-off draw. But for this Raiders squad, Cromie and Larenko leading the way in points so far with 3 each. Cromie with the most goals in this series so far for the Raiders, but they don't have much. Only 4 scored against the Twins in the 3 games. There's potentially a chance to get the game even again, as they got a minute 25 remaining on this power play, as this gets past number 24 for this Twins team, and Hedlund all the way back down into the Raiders' end, though, as the Twins were able to clear it in. Laravel skates his way back into the Fort Garry end, as Laravel bumped off the puck, pinned up along the boards by Hedlund, as it leaves this for Caligari. Gonna look to go for a skate, instead passes this cross ice into the skate of Enerson, works out as it got to Gorchinski, but his pass cross ice fails. As the Raiders get possession of it again, under a minute remaining in this power play opportunity, sent in deep, no icing called on the play as they were past the red line. Johnson gets a hold of this though, and just sends this back down, and it results what's a too many men for this Raiders squad. So we'll have 4-on-4 play for the next 39 seconds. So we'll take the power play graphic off for 39 seconds before we put on the Twins power play graphic. It's D'Souza going to the box. One of the Raiders' better forwards that they'll have serving up this too many men call, as the Raiders had their choice of who to send. Look for D'Souza to try to get behind the Twins D and them stretching him for a pass if the time comes, and if they do have possession once we get back to even strength. As the Twins looking to build some early momentum, early pressure before the power play even starts. Back in the zone, across to Balshaw, took it on the back end, drops it back to Matani. As Matani shifts to the right, it goes to Johnson, who transitioned to the left. Down low, rimmed around, back to Matani. As we get onto a Twins power play now, as rubbed out along the wall, Balshaw, but good support for the Twins as they're able to get this puck back. Medwick has this turned away now. It's Wilson who's looking to go off to the races. Looking to dangle through. Balshaw collides. Oh, not looking great with Matani, as Balshaw is going to head slowly to the bench. As Matani rips this, fires wide, tries to get his own rebound off the backboards. We'll give you an update on how Balshaw ends up looking, or what his progress is as this game goes along. But yeah, just a heavy collision as both him and Matani trying to close in on Wilson. The Twins, a team that loves to get numbers on their opposition, no different there when they're on the power play. And yeah, just an unfortunate collision. Collide into each other pretty aggressively too, and Balshaw way worse off than Matani, as Matani's able to rush in after and fire a shot. Goes off the backboards and almost gets his own rebound. But yes, we'll give you the update of Balshaw's progress in this game, an update on his health as we go along the best we can. So spectate from the stands here. This sent all the way down. 27 seconds left in the Twins man advantage as they look for one more rush chance up. Gorchinski dangle through number 15 in Whiteside as Gorchinski regroups, gets this across to Hedlund. 10 seconds remain now as McLeod bangs his stick on the ice to signal this power play coming to an end. Out in front, that off the stick of Gorchinski, cleared out by the Raiders as we're back to even strength. Raiders surviving a too many men call. The stretch pass opportunity not there to get it to Sousa as he ended up going to the bench. As this sent all the way down into the Raiders zone. Turned up the left boards, past the skate of Livingstone and through. Trying to chase it down was Hukert as this gets back down low. Noah Benera, AP. Where's number 24 with that yellow bucky? As it gets sent in, Livingstone whips us off the boards all the way down into the Raiders zone. That off the mark for Benera. As D-to-D the Twins go. LaForge's his stretch pass all the way through. Oh, good for no icing. Neufeld caught up to it. Good bounce off the boards. Rebound there denied by Benera. So 5:51 remaining. The Twins using that good speed. And I guess you could say using what they used in math class, playing the angles very well to set up that chance for Neufeld as he took that off the boards. They created an opportunity, getting that on net. Just turned aside by Benera. Rebound was there. Turned aside by number 30 again. As Livingstone off the end glass goes across to Gilberto. Number 18 flips this out into the glove of Zook as Jace Matthews gets a stick on that. Sends that into the Raiders zone. D-to-D the Raiders go to Sousa. Tried to saucer that through. Jace Matthews got a stick on it, but now onto the stick of Zook as he gets rubbed out along the boards. Nice play by Livingstone as this rimmed around out of the reach of LaForge. Just cut off well by a Raiders player, number 17 in Larenko. Twins trying to get to transition. Not to be, though. It's turned over into the glove of Zook. Drops this back to D'Souza. He was recently in the penalty box serving too many men. Now back out. Looking up ice for his options. Goes cross ice to Zook. It's the D-man. Jumps into the play. Drops this back to Larenko. His shot can't get through. A nice block by Ledzinski. As number 6 and Johnson makes his way through. Protects this puck while he tucks this. Tries to with the forehand and denied by Benera. Raiders fans upset. No trip coming up here on the play. Just looking for a call. Not getting one. That's going to be sent in by Kolbiski, so I should say. Larenko. Drop back to defenseman. Over to Lorveld now, up to D'Souza. But off the mark for number 16 in the end as this got back to a Twins D. Now Ledzinski, his shot turned aside by the glove of Benera. 4:05 remaining. Raiders goaltenders faced 10 shots so far. He's been great for the most part. 9 saves on 10 against. McLeod not tested out as much. Only 3 shots so far for this Raiders team. As Hal Menderes on the draw loses this, but battled well. Couldn't quite get it back beneath that face-off circle. As Kennedy makes his way through. Down low into the Twins zone. Into the low slot. Trying to tuck that in. But going behind the net instead. The chance was Kushner. Strong along the boards, the Raiders. Taking this to the net. Strong draft from Kushner, but he's denied. McLeod, I think, tried to give him a little whack from behind afterwards. That shot. Garry denied by the blocker of Benera. It's a high shot. Ends up out of play after the blocker denies that from Calgary. It looked like it was going wide anyways, but couldn't have been going that wide if Benera able to get a blocker on it. Maybe going more so high than wide of the net, but the Twins play this down low. It's Menderes to Gorchinski, somehow able to get this puck. Gets it to Balshaw as well, as Balshaw ends up having that blocked, trying to send that on net on Benera. ends up still staying in this Fort Garry end as the Twins look to work it up ice. They do out of their zone now. This over to Halamandaris. He dangles through. What a move from number 22. Great backhand, but an even better save by number 30 in Benera, who's been locked in this period. I mean, the one goal that he lets in, there's really nothing you can do on it. The Twins have numbers in front. It's a great play by Gorchinski. Lobs it right onto the stick of Halamandaris, and Benera made the first save, but sorry, it was to Balshaw, and Halamandaris finishes it off. But yeah, really no chance. Not much of a chance, really, for you. You may get lucky and your natural skill may come through to be able to make one save, but making a second, tough. Ever since then, Benera has made it so that he hasn't had to make many tough saves. This floats onto the top of the net. So we get a stoppage in play, but Benera, I think his positioning's been solid in this game. Hasn't let that one goal rattle him. So this Twins team continues to come after the Raiders, not satisfied with only being up 1-0 in this game. Medwick has that puck taken away off the boards. This sent out by the Raiders onto the stick of LaForges. Goes D to Livingstone in the Twins end. That just off the mark, intended for Medwick. The Raiders have that stripped away just upon entry into the Twins zone. Turned over onto the stick of Hugert as the Raiders work it back up ice again. Hugert up the boards. Goes into the skate of Medwick. Tries to play that across to Lazat. Instead turned over, and Darrett breaks his way in, but an offside called. Good on Darrett for also circling back after. Looked like he contemplated maybe taking a shot, but not worth it. Not at this point, especially late in this period. You don't want to give this Twins team any more momentum than they already have, which they built up a lot of it so far in this series. The Raiders have had a lead here back in game number 1. That Benera Tash off the skate and onto the backhand, denied by McLeod as the Twins look to break out. Get to transition once again. Neufeld smacks that down. Hand pass waved off. So the Raiders touch it up. Zook ends up fending on this clear-in attempt as Matthews picks his pocket. Tries to get into Neufeld. Instead, that backdoor Benera trying to find it again on that backdoor pass from Neufeld. As this to Noah Benera again. His pass this time intercepted. With a minute 20 remaining, sent in by Benera. So McLeod out of his own net to play this. Waits before Senchuk comes just a bit closer to him before sending that free to a D-man. Some shouting happening out on the ice. As Neufeld looked like what a big hit because of it, is this called an offside. With 1:01 remaining on the first period clock. 16-5 the shots in favor of the Twins. With Carter Halamandaris scoring his 5th goal of the playoffs, his 9th point. Gorchinski's 9th point. Or sorry, it's updated now. It was Halamandaris' 4th goal and Gorchinski's 7th assist. Both tied for the team lead with 8 points each. As we're into the final minute of the period now, 40 seconds and under counting left in this period as the Raiders look to make something happen. D'Souza fanned on that pass across, but we got to stop and play. So the Twins sent this into their own bench. Both Canoe and D'Souza afterwards exchanging pleasantries as both giving each other a shot. Good old playoff hockey, the shenanigans, the antics after the whistles. It's all fun, a lot of drama that could be built up in a game like this, especially an elimination game for the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. 18 seconds left. Benera out of his own net plays this. I believe it's a Larval. Yes, it is. Plays this right through the skates of Larenko. Twins just content with playing this back down. as D'Souza ends up losing that. It's to Cromie. I just realized I should have said content, not contempt, on that Twins dump in. But as for this Twins team, they're up 1-0 after the first 20 minutes of play. The goal scorer, Carter Halaman-Daris. So we bring up when exactly the goal was scored, as we're loading the MMJHL's website. Halaman-Daris scoring his 4th of the postseason from David Balshaw and Dean Gorchinski. Great play there by the Twins top line. And yeah, that goal kind of just illustrated how the first period really went for this Twins team when they had success, which they had a lot of it, which was they're just in great positions. They support the puck so well, even when they're on the defensive side of it, and that's why we saw so many giveaways from the Raiders, so many takeaways from this Twins team. They love to get numbers on you. It's great to see that. Of course, Balshaw okay after taking a heavy collision with Matani, but this Twins team so deep right now. They're only up 1-0. They've had a lot of great chances to go up on the scoreboard, but it's been Evan Benera who's been doing the job and giving his team a chance here tonight. Gordon Tummelson would be proud. As, his sponsor, Gordy Tummelson sponsoring goaltenders, is going to be your second period sponsor along with Terrico coming up. This first period was brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Be sure to check out their website at cancentralsportscards.com, as well as checking out their only store location in the city of Winnipeg at 995 Mount Eagle Drive. The first place, Fort Garry Twins up 1-0 over the 8th-seeded 8th place Raiders Junior Hockey Club here at Seven Oaks Arena, and the Raiders home in Game 4 as the Twins look to join the Riels in the Final Four, looking to punch their Final Four ticket for the first time in over a decade. We'll be back with a bit of analysis during this second intermission, as well as some highlights, and of course the second period call. But first we're going to show you Twins versus Hawks, as we're still looking to get some new highlights, and we've shown this in every game so far, but it's a game so good that we're going to show it again. And I mean, Fort Garry fans may be in the house for this one, so why not show them, well, maybe some motivation, of course, as the Hawks end up winning that one. We'll show it to you now here as you're watching MMJHL Game Day on G-Show Productions Uscreen channel, gshow.productions.uscreen.io. Thank you for tuning into this one, MMJHL fans, and paying the $5 admission fee. 50% goes back to the MMJHL. We'll be back for the second period call and some more analysis coming up next. MMJHL Game Day broadcast, this pre-recorded version of this game between the Fort Garry Twins and the Charleswood Hawks, especially on that counterattack. As soon as they take it away, they were trying to get right back into the Hawk zone moments ago to attack. Ended up being an offside called on the play, of course. The Twins pick it up again. Here's Nick Gilberto off the post, and it's in! Hit the inside of the bar, and with that, number 18 strikes first here tonight for the Twins to give them an early one-goal lead. But you get two players that were leaders on the River East Royal Knights. They come over to this Charleswood Hawks team now. The hopes for this team, obviously, going all in to get to a championship. Into the slot, Reynolds scores! And in his first game as a Charleswood Hawk, the new number for Mr. Reynolds, number 20. It's sent all the way down into the Twin zone again, and on it, number 15 in Bazin Eros. Bazin in front, turned aside. That short pass, he received it, but better to make the save was Pauls. Not that time as the Hawks go up 2-1. Into Fort Garry's end as Pauls leaves that for a teammate. The Twins skate this out. Gorchinski Feeds it to the middle, to Balshaw, passed across to Helamandaris, who turned aside there by Gordon. Helamandaris gets it back, though. Cross-ice feed to Gorchinski, Rip scores! The Charleswood crowd a bit furious about that one, as usually you see that get called. Neufeld gets taken out hard to the ice. Reverse picks the puck up, handcuffing Pauls a bit, but Pauls able to come away with that save. Now Neufeld gets lit up in the neutral zone, but a 2-on-1 headed the other way as that shot turned aside by Gordon. First forechecker in, waited a bit, allowed for the Twins to send a breakout pass out, but into the stick of Matani. A bit of trouble handling it, forces a turnover onto the stick of number 22. And Jacob feeds it, backdoor scores! It's a 3-2 lead for the home side, the Hawks, courtesy of Morrison. It's Vic Fussing weaving in, his shot blocked and sent wide of the net. Is this picked up again by Cole Penner? That shot through, scores! As for the teams in action tonight, the St. Boniface Riels right now leading 4-1 against the St. James Junior Canucks. In this game, Helamandaris under the bar scores a beauty! Glavina able to maneuver his way through into the Twins' end. Spins around, fires down low, trying to locate Elliot Lewis. That just out of 19's reach. Takes a bit of a high stick afterwards. No call on the play as Van Alstyne gets it back. Number 14, Vic Fussen into the slot, scores! Gorchinski not out there right now. Right now it's Matani along with Hedlund at the points, Medwick, Gilberto, I believe, as well as Lozano scores! As won by the Twins to the point. Hedlund gets taken out, or Livingstone, that is. Huge hit. Number 22 in Jacob. That short shot turned aside by Gordon again, and Medwick got lit up too there. Puck sent back in to the Hawks end. As skating with it's Stevenson before whipping this down the right wall. Cut off by Eric Johnson as Johnson makes his way down low. Tries to backhand that pass behind the back out in front, but couldn't get it there. Helamandaris tries to take it away. He now gets a quick little pass over to Balshaw, scores! Glavina loses his balance and ends up not cradling that puck. Turnover forced, and there's a wraparound goal! The Twins, 3 unanswered, to now lead this one 6-5. 13:28 remaining. This held at the line again by this Fort Garry Twins squad, as they really are getting their cycle game going right now. As that turned over, Balshaw able to, off the post that goes, almost a second. I believe number 29, Caligari, was turned away by Gordon on that shot. Now played up onto the stick, Carlson to the slot, Sperber scores! But the Hawks able to get it right back in again, looking to get in on the attack. But this stripped away by the Twins. Huge hit late on there by Matani. A tie hockey game at 6-6. Who's going to play hero tonight? Here late in this one. Oh, Elliot Lewis. What a move. Another beauty by Lewis. Backdoor feed. Oh, what a save by Pauls to keep it out. Back into the middle as Johnson has that taken away into the skates of a Hawks player. Glavina now skating up the other way. Has Carlson heading towards the net. Nice job to evade that check-in. Gets it over to Reynolds, and Reynolds denied by Alex Pauls. Coming up on a minute left to play here in this overtime period. Gorchinski wheeling in, protects on the forehand. Trying to keep protecting this, but can't. It's onto the stick of Sperber. Has White with him, drops it back to White, stays on this! Oh, onto the stick of David Balshaw, trying to maneuver his way to the net, but ridden out along the boards. Huge defensive play there. 0-0 right now in the shootout.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
And welcome back into MMJHL Playoff Game Day here on Uscreen, on G-Show Productions Uscreen page, on gshowproductions.uscreen.io. The Fort Garry Twins up 1-0 after the first 20 minutes of play, dominating the Shaw category as well, 16-5. Carter Hallamandaris with his fourth of the postseason, assisted by David Balshaw and number 7 in Dean Gorchinski, the captain. As we take a look at the rest of the league around it, the Transcone Railer Express up 3-1 over the St. James Junior Canucks in Abe McDonald Arena. Into the second period of play there with 6:22 remaining. 6:56 remaining in the first period between Charleswood and Stonewall, as Charleswood up 1-0 in that game. As we take a look at the playoff bracket, the Riels, the only team to advance so far. The Twins looking to join them in that Final Four conversation to get in there. As we go into the second period here, that will be brought to you by Terrico and Goaltenders. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia was our first period sponsor. As for the Twins, love the pressure they played with in this game. Sometimes, in a game like this, to close out the series, you may be a bit nervous, just kind of natural sometimes, and the other team is going to be giving you potentially their best effort of the season, right? And thought that the Raiders had some decent chances out of their 5 throughout that period. It wasn't quite enough, and for this Twins team, one of the most complete teams, you could say the most complete team in the league this year, with the amount of 20 goal scores they had. Like 5 players with over 20 goals, which is insane. And yeah, looking like they're treating tonight like any other night. Business as usual so far for Fort Garry, of course, looking for more goals as so far in this postseason for the Twins. They've had 18 goals for the 3 games, averaging 6 per. But Bonera has done the job so far for the most part. Really tough chance for him to stop on that first and only goal of the game by Hallamandaris. Has made a great save on Balshaw. Hallamandaris there to pick up the trash quickly, as this just turned aside by McLeod. It's a good chance for the Raiders early here, not even a minute into the period. As face-off coming up in the Twin zone, won by the Twins. Garry being bumped off the puck down low, but it's to Gorchinski. His pass goes off a stick into the neutral zone, floats there as Hallamandaris ends up having that taken away. Balshaw now kicks this to the outside, over to Hedlund, whips this to the net, rebound there, but off the skate of a Raider in front, and number 3 in Jared Hallamandaris spins and fires that off the blocker of number 30 in Bonera, making the save. Hallamandaris circles this back down low as Gorchinski rims this around to Caligari. Caligari over into the leg, the right leg, the shin pad of Gorchinski. He gets this back though to Hallamandaris. He fires into the breadbasket of Bonera to get a stoppage here. Not even 2 minutes into this period as of yet, but this top line for the Twins, all with over 20 goals this year in the regular season. Hallamandaris and Gorchinski finish as the top 2 duo in every stat category, goals, assists, points. So they're both tied for the league lead in goals this year with 33. And so far, not as much goal scoring from Gorchinski, but 7 helpers in these playoffs. Halamandaris going to be a goal per game at least, with 4 now on his postseason resume. As this shot tipped wide of the net off the backboards. And onto Gilberto's stick as he recovers this. Tries to play it across to the point, but this off the stick of Hedlund and across to Benera. Drops this back to Senchuk, but not to be for the Raiders. They're unable to capitalize on that rush chance. Hedlund across off the stick of Matthews and out of play. So we get a line change for this Twins team coming up, as well as for this Raiders lineup too, getting fresh forwards and defensemen onto the ice. So it'll be 2 newbies for this Twins team. Joining their lineup late in the season, Kolbiski and Lodzinski. Of course, LaForge is also a player that has joined this Twins team as the season came to a close. Scott Wong, his group, experienced, one of the most experienced groups in the league, a star talent, and also youth in their roster as well. That's going to get, well, a lot of valuable experience throughout these playoffs for this Raiders team. Plenty of youth on their squad. No 3s, as mentioned, for James Barkley and his group this playoffs, this postseason. Even though you may not win a game, who knows, they still might tonight and come back as early down 1-0. But all 4 of these games, you take these as learning lessons and valuable experience. So you're going to be older and more experienced next season as LaForge is bumped off the puck in the neutral zone. As that a hit by Yurchenko, number 6, makes his way towards the net. That off his stick as he tried to receive that pass from Whiteside. As Medwick tries to whack this out, but unable to. Yurchenko now taken out in the corner by Livingstone. This allows for number 12 in Medwick to make his way up his own end, and now chips it off the boards through the neutral zone into the Raiders' end as Medwick bumped off the puck, almost now bumped along the boards, finally loses it as this off the stick of Canoe. He fires this on net still, though, as he recovered. Was able to get a chance somehow as that shot turned aside by Johnson, or from Johnson by Benera. Latani now. His shot deflects to Johnson into the slot for Medwick. That 1T just wide. That right post. Another one-timer wide of the left post, or the right post this time, as they got the 2 sides mixed up as Huging circles to the slot. That a blocker save this time by Benera as number 30 gets challenged. Another one incoming. A bomb not able to get through. Says block this time. Maybe a break here that the Raiders are looking for as D'Souza guarding this puck, but goes wide of that short glove side. That puck didn't even make its way off the ice, but might have been effective if it made its way onto the net. This one does. From outside the blue line as puck ends up out of play now. So we will get a face-off to the glove hand side of McLeod in the Twin zone. As Garry passes this to an outlet man. This saucered across and all the way down to the Raiders, and icing waved off as Halamandaris beat Wilson to it, but Wilson pinned him up along the boards, so Halamandaris was unable to get back to that puck. Ends up to the slot, scores! A favorable bounce for this Raiders Junior Hockey Club team that number 9 and Kushner takes advantage of as he gets his Raiders onto the scoreboard, tied up here with 15:03 remaining in this second period. 7th shot of the game only for this Raiders club. Ends up being a good one for them as for Garry. Looking to respond now. Now tied in this one. How does the 8C keep coming? As Enerson through to the net, almost backdoor for Kushner for what would have been his second. In just 15 seconds apart. As for Garry, all of a sudden, swarm hitting them in their own end. They look to work it towards the net. That shot turned aside just by that glove of Banera. Ends up back to Hedlund. Is Hedlund down low? Halamandaris plays it to LaForges. That shot low to Belshaw. His shot turned aside by Banera. He looks back. Didn't think he saved it seemed, but he indeed did save that up. As we're going to show some love for the goaltenders with your goalie's personal video review service. Banera, huge reason why the Raiders were just down by 1 goal. Made some huge saves in that first. He's already faced 9 in this period. Another one incoming. A glove save from number 30. He's locked in. Absolutely. This Twins team continues to come at the Raiders. Even more urgency in their game after giving up that 1 goal lead. As this draw one back to LaForges. Fakes. Goes up the left side to Neufeld. As Neufeld spins away from the pressure. Feeds this down low to Gilberto. Gilberto gets this puck loose to Jace Matthews. Back to Gilberto. Drops this down low to Neufeld. Neufeld fends off the check-in before dropping this back to Matthews. Gilberto still there to Matthews. His shot turned aside to the point. LaForges steps up. His shot not through to the net. That off the side of the net and turned aside by Banera. As LaForges' chance was blocked up, but the puck still lively. Didn't get to the net initially. Went off of the side at the end of it, of that sequence. From Fort Garry as they got some fresh legs out onto the ice. What a line this has been. Lazard, centered by Medwick. And then on the other wing, who's way up high at the middle, top of that face-off circle, is Rylan Hugin. Led the MMJHL in goals last season. He's a top 10 goal scorer again this year. As this off the end glass for the Raiders. It's taken away by Johnson down low. Hugin's pass up the middle. Turned aside, but a trip-in penalty coming up here to Fort Garry. This is Medwick who's going to be penalized. So the Raiders get a chance to go back onto the power play. It'll only be their second of this matchup. The first one cut short, of course, because of a too many men penalty. But done the job so far on the PK. Can they get it done here on the power play now? Hoping to have all 2 minutes if they can, and if it's less than that, well, they're hoping it's a goal that comes out of it. As we bring our power play sponsor onto the screen. Brought to you by Terrico for this power play. Delayed offside. The Twins with some time to clear this down, and they do just that. To Halamandaris, offside called on the play. A late call from the linesman. Scott Wong not too pleased about it. It is what it is for the Fort Garry head coach. We'll bring it up right now. Heading into this one. We'll wait just a moment. As the Raiders look to work this in, Logan Ash sends it in deep. It's to Larenko. Larenko thought about dishing it back to Ash, but instead goes to the point to Larvell, who his shot didn't get through. A block there from a Twins player, not too sure who it was, as the Twins able to get this out now. It's Matani, the defenseman, Haskin, who headed in the net. He shoots instead as that turned aside and out of play into the mesh. Well, that shorthanded chance. Matani, so dangerous when he's able to get on the rush, and he showcases that again. Even dangerous when shorthanded, but leading point getter so far, Halamandaris in that top 5 heading into this one. He was actually tied with Gorchinski. As mentioned, they both have 8 postseason points. Jackson McLeod so far, good goals against average. He's in the top 5 in that category. in the MMJHL playoffs so far. I'll get to that. We'll get into more stats later, why it's set at GAA. As that in front! Chance not able to be put on net by the Raiders. As Wilson gets this to Enerson. Enerson back to Wilson, back to Enerson. Not through a screen, that's blocked up. As Enerson feeds that down low. 23 seconds remaining now as it gets played to number 23. Off the boards to 22 and Enerson. Enerson to the forehand feeds this to number 7 and Zook. Zook gets it back, fires this wide of the net. Can he get to it? Yes, he will. It's Wilson. 6 seconds remaining now. Another nice block by Fort Garry. It's Garry, but it gets to Kennedy. His shot wide of the net from the bottom of that right face-off circle. We're back to even strength as the Raiders unable to hold this in. Good battle, though, from the junior hockey club. That was off the boards into the skate of Garry. Tries to play this to Hedlund. Struggled to get it to him. Hedlund whacks us out with a backhand. All the way down. As Wilson to Whiteside. To Yurchenko in the neutral zone. Sent all the way down. And back into the twin zone. As Darrett to the point. De Hukert loses this in his feet. The Twins try to work this up. Medwick, of course, in the box. A few moments ago, knee on knee coming up here as Johnson and Derek collide. So unfortunately, you don't have the access to the replay, but a heavy collision there at the blue line. My goodness. As it's Derek and Johnson, who ended up being the ones colliding with each other. It's a 4-minute penalty for this knee-on-knee that's called by the referees. Putting on goaltenders onto the screen. But it just happened so fast. Of course, the refs not having access to video replay. Neither do we. We wish we could see that one back to see if it looked intentional or not. It's hard to make out how exactly it transpired with how quickly it happened. And for this Raiders team, they're looking to score quickly here. Or maybe looking to control the 4-minute power play. Ash, his shot turned aside off of that right arm of McLeod all the way down as it's ripped out off the boards and out from Fort Garry. Benair out of his own net to stop this up. Leaves it. A teammate on his way back. Can't make out his number right now. So I believe that's Larveld. Got it to Cromie. Cromie played it back. Now it's into the direction of Cromie again as it was into the Twins' end. As the Twins play D to D, Livingstone just sends this all the way out back into the Raiders' end as Larveld makes his way up. Tries to send this on net. Goes off of the side instead as Larveld gets it back. Like he fanned on the pass, but it got to the corner anyways to Ash, as Ash takes this pass off his skate, settles it down, gets it to D'Souza. D'Souza over to Ash, that off the mark. As in the corner, Logan Ash gets this back. Up top to D'Souza, back to Ash, top of the right face-off circle on the way through. Looked like that might have redirected off of something, but McLeod, no matter what, up to make that save. So it's into the skate down low. Larenko backhand feed into the slot. Loose puck still there, sent wide by this Raiders squad. Sent out by this Twins team. And onto the stick of Carter Halamandaris. It's Halamandaris. He rips the scores! It's number 2 tonight for number 22. Short-handed, Fort Garry back on top. Who else but Carter? Halamandaris tracks down this puck that ends up going into the neutral ice, catches up to it, and then makes the rush in. Skates towards the middle to set himself up in a dangerous spot on the ice. The Raiders have to be a bit more aggressive on him, I think. I know he may make a move past you and you want to contain, but you give Halamandaris that much room to make a decision on a shot like that, you're usually going to pay for it. And as good as Benair has been, Hard to stop a perfect shot from number 22 as that goal was brought to you by Terrico. The Raiders looking to answer back with a minute 37 left on this power play now. This is up top, Wilson over to Enerson. That shot through, turned aside by McLeod. Rebound scooped away by Garry. His shot out of the zone all the way back into the Raiders' end. As the Twins get a fresh forward onto the ice, and Gilberto dropping this back. Wilson exchanges with Gilberto there as they push off of each other in the neutral zone. Zook, his pass too short to get back to the point, so sent out by this Twins squad again with under a minute left. Now in this power play action for this Raiders team. Look out, Matani, like a bullet down to catch up to this puck. He does. Matani shields this, goes all the way back to the neutral zone to control this for the Twins as they got a lot of ice to work with right now. They decide to send it in deep. Into the corner is Wilson. Able to take this puck and skate it up. Passing it off to Cromie, dropped it back to number 16 into Sousa. Tried to make a move past Balshaw, but bad idea. Balshaw takes it away. Nice defense by Larveld. Rushing back to get a stick in the lane of number 11 shot. Saving a potential third goal of the game for this Twin squad. Which would be another one shorthanded on a power play that comes to an end with, well, not much to like if you're James Barkley and this Raiders team. Is that shot a bit more like it, but turned aside by McLeod. Rebound there as Cromie ended up blocking that up. That clear attempt out of the zone from the Raiders. Yorchenko off the boards. Taken away by Gilberto. Dishes this off to Ledzinski. Backdoor feet. Gilberto. Gilberto. Ends up fanning on it and going hard on the boards. As Garry fends off a check from Larenko. Kolbiski just across the blue line sends this in deep for the Twins. As it's flipped back in. Offside on the play. Cromie a bit too ahead of the line. So the Raiders tried to stretch the zone with only 5:46 remaining in this period. Crazy how it's flown by. But, yeah, as for the Raiders, I mean, you give up a shorthanded goal. You almost give up another one. Plenty of chances against where you're supposed to have the advantage, and they were able to have some dangerous looks, but not what you would have liked on a 4-minute power play situation. As they're down again in this one. It's Matani at the point. His shot through, but into the breadbasket. Albanera. 29 shots now in this game for the Twins. They have a 2-1 lead as Medwick wins this draw, but cut off right away by the Raiders as Kushner, the goal scorer in this game for the Raiders, tries to break through, making his way to the net, but can't quite catch up to it. Johnson got a stick on it first. Ash plays this down low to Nobanera. Takes a weird bounce off the boards, though. Hit a weird spot in that corner. Bounced in favor of the Twins as they were able to whip it out their own end. It's number 24, Nobanera. Up to Kushner, who sends this in deep into the direction. Number 21, Nash, who got to it first, but knocked off that puck by Matani as Matani rushes his way into the neutral zone. They'll end up to Lazat's stick. He rubbed out along the corner by number 9 and Kushner. As puck gets past Lazat back in the neutral zone. It's this Matani winds up, fires this in as it rims around to Huging. There'll be an offside called on the play. 4:29 remaining in the second period of action. It's 2-1 for the Twins in this game that Neither one of these teams has been able to separate on the scoreboard. More so the Twins, who were up 1-0 to start things off, before this Raiders team was able to even things up in this second frame. The Twins looking for their second goal of this second period now, looking to extend the lead late here. The Raiders may have other plans, though, as this Whiteside able to muscle his way through and now sends it opposite corner to Chapman. Tries to play it up the boards, but cut off by Gorchinski. Now that pass intercepted in the neutral zone by Larvelt, sent it on net for McLeod. So delayed offside still for this Raiders squad. That pass ends up to Hedlund eventually, but he goes off the boards all the way down for an icing. So I'll give you an update right now on what's happening from around the rest of the MM. As only 3 series remain. Could be only 2 after tonight. It's a 3-1 lead now for Charleswood over Stonewall. Still 3-1 for the Railers with 17:54 remaining in that third period, as the MM's website said. Be sure to check out the MMJHL's website at mmjhl.ca for all the details surrounding these playoffs, the scores, the stats, the schedules, all that great stuff. As this puck will be sent out by the Twins, played D-to-D from Huker to Yurchenko, as Yurchenko goes off the glass and onto the stick of Larenko, who makes his way down low into the Twins zone, pass it out in front. Raider gets taken out. No call on the play from the refs, as this gets sent right back in to the Twins zone. That's Caligari. Delayed offside on the play still for the Raiders, as Fort Garry able to work this out. As Halamandaris onto the stick of Balshaw mid-air, as this gets deflected into the Raiders' crease, occupied by number 30 in Bonera. 30-16, the shots in favor of this Twin side now. They retook 1-goal lead. Halamandaris has 2 on the night now. Does he get a hat trick, and do we see hats get thrown onto the ice here tonight? From what I can see, not many people wearing hats, and I don't want to give the hat they're wearing away. But we'll be interested to see if any do get thrown onto the ice, as LaForge is there, clear cupping of the puck. Play gets blown dead in its tracks. So this will be a penalty, too. So sends the Raiders on to the man advantage, hoping for better luck on this one than the last. Be another Fort Garry penalty kill, where they were successful last time, shorthanded, scoring a goal. As this all the way down into the Raiders' end. Gonna be interesting to see what exactly the call is coming up, as I'm waiting for the timekeeper to announce it, as D'Souza makes his way in, tucks it to the forehand, not denied by McLeod. Nice save by number 30 as he puts the net back on himself. Is that into the bumper? 2 minutes for handling the puck is the call on the play. The official call from the timekeeper. Matani bumps down. Larvell can't catch up to that, as the Raiders ended up recovering. They look to work up ice. It's Ash who has to get past Medwick first. Challenged well at the Raiders' blue line, and allows for this puck to stay in still in the Raiders' end. The Raiders look to transition up more successfully this time. Kicked out to the outside to Cromie. Great hand-eye by Matani, but Cromie gets it back through, scores! It's Ryan Cromie who stays with it, determined to get that puck and take it to the net. And it's not the prettiest finish in the world, but one that he'll certainly take. Huge goal with 1:32 remaining on the scoreboard. Time clock. With that goal brought to you by Terrico. It's the Raiders, who didn't have great control on that power play, but able to do what they do best when creating offense, and that's usually off of the rush. That goal brought to you by Terrico. Cromie leads this team in goals in these playoffs. Stepping up huge for them here as that shot turned aside by McLeod. With a minute 20 remaining now. It's played across to Gorchinski. Trying to dangle his way through Wilson. Stood up well by number 23, but Almendar's right there! This shot turned aside by Banera. As Gorchinski gets it right back. A minute 03 remaining. Gorchinski fends off the check-in. Plays this down low. Ends up into the slot. Played out by this Raiders club. As Hedlund has pass up. And sent all the way in. Deflects off of a stick. A twin player off the leg of Caligari now. 40 seconds remains on the clock as Caligari chases this down before Enerson. Now spins away from the pressure of Enerson. This pass through all the way down will be nice, and no, it'll be waved off due to the efforts and the speed of Gilberto. Getting a step behind the defense. That played to the slot, but can't get to Neufeld. Down low he goes to Gilberto. 19 seconds remaining to the slot. That misses number 24 in Edlin as he crept up from that blue line spot. 10 seconds remain now. Caligari just wants to eat this puck, but Ash able to take it away. Banera into the slot. Banera whacking away at it again, keeping it alive, trying to get it to Ash, but unable to complete the pass successfully. What a finish to that period for this Raiders Junior Hockey Club team. They're very much alive in this game 4. Do they want to go home yet? Well, we'll find out in these next 20 minutes of regulation. The Twins thought that they, for the most part, had a pretty solid period, had a lot of the pressure again. But you could see this Raiders team start to have more success on the rushes in the Twin zone. A weak goal that was let in by McLeod, to be honest with you, from an angle that he should have had covered up better. It squeaks through his 5-hole or somewhere in that lower part of the net. Pretty sure it was the 5-hole. But yeah, the Raiders capitalizing on their chances and looking to continue to stay opportunistic. Much better period for them as they were able to put up double digits in shots. It's 30-19 now in favor of the Twins. So we're going to send it to some second period highlights, a game from the regular season that we want to show you of a series that we're going to be calling on Sunday for Game 5 in East End. We'll get to the scores from around the league coming up during this intermission, and as well as getting you set for the third period here on your home for MMJHL Hockey on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Thank you for paying the $5 admission fee, MMJHL fans, for this one. And yeah, 50% of the profits go back to the league, to the MMJHL. Just want to keep reminding everyone of that, since if we benefit, the league benefits. It's one of our mottos now. Terrico and Goaltenders were the second period sponsors. We're going to play a Mid-Canton Fasteners commercial. And then another one, the end of the highlights, but highlights coming up next.
Mid-Canton Fasteners and Tools has been the place to shop for your industrial needs for over 20 years. Carrying the tools you need to get the job done from the brands you can trust, Mid-Canton Fasteners and Tools has you covered. Brands like Milwaukee Tool, established in 1924 and on display in our Milwaukee Red Zone, the largest red zone in Winnipeg. With construction workers and tradespeople in mind, Mid-Canton Fasteners and Tools is your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. So come on down to our Winnipeg store location today, located on 1557 King Edward Street in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Good afternoon, Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League fans. Welcome into our first February broadcast of the MMJHL's regular season here from Transcona and East End Arena, featuring the Transcona Railer Express taking on the visiting St. James Junior Canucks. I'm your host and play-by-play commentator for this afternoon's action, Graham the G-Show Forsyth, on your home for MMJHL Hawk, trying to shield this puck from Campbell, but nice stick from number 8 to take it away. Phillips fumbles with it, and now stripped away by Jackson Sorrell on a breakaway, coming in on hands. Day goes out, just misses the net. Is an ad off? No, it isn't. Stays on its bearings as here come the Canucks down the other way. Tar Jansen backdoor scores! Tar Jansen with a beauty of a feed backdoor to Thorsteinsson, Brady Thorsteinsson, number 14, as it makes it a 1-0 lead for the Canucks to open the scoring in this one. As Vandenbush tries sending this down low but couldn't. Kicked and held in by Bruchansky as he works to the middle of the point. Tipton scores! Bruchansky throws it towards net where I think it takes a double deflection. Last off the stick of Evan Chudley as he ties this game up at 1 apiece for his Railer Express squad. 20 seconds remains on this 5-on-3 worked across. Bruchansky gets it right back over to Larkins, into the slot, rebound there, scores! It's 2 on the afternoon for Chudley. That's 2 unanswered for Transcona as they take their first lead of the afternoon in last year's MMJHL Championship Series. Right now, looking to kill it off for the St. James Canucks. This power plays that shot, fanned on backdoor, scores! Or not backdoor, rather cross ice pass to the left face-off circle to Trace Sullen. Defending him well was Campbell. Up the boards to McClure goes as he passes this up off the skate of Vandenbush, in now and stride scores! It's the captain who gives his Railer Express a bit more separation on the scoreboard. 4-1 they lead with 9:16 remaining. Then all the way out this goes. 4-on-2 developing over to the slot for Grindle, behind the back pass to Goodbranson, backdoor pass put away by Magnum Grindle, and there we go for the Canucks. Striking for the first time on the power play this afternoon. Thanks for being with us this Sunday afternoon, everybody. This is the first game, of course, that was on the schedule. As this backdoor scores! Grindle again finishes off a pass, this time from Romanek. And all of a sudden, the Canucks within 1 in this one. Nice job to cut through the D there and to make his way through. Vandenbush chips it to himself and makes it all the way down. Coming back, good Branson Vandenbush turned aside by Ends. With 10 seconds remaining, the Railer Express just send this down. Getting on it first is Johnson. Do we see one more chance here? One more shot as Johnson tries to turn and fire. Huge hit on Tar Jansen by Kyle Todoruk. 17:15 the time remaining, 39-17 the shots in favor of Transcona. Is unable to hold the line off of that face-off win. As Warfel, all the boys taken out hard by Whiteman. 16 had him lined up and delivered the blow. There's been some times where they've had to just let these teams play. There's been a lot of calls that have been warranted, but some of them a bit weak. And this one is shot enough angles past the Sullen, turned aside by Ends. This draw won by the Railers. That quick one-timer off the draw that they love to set up. Backdoor now deflects in front, just off the stick of Turner wide. Tries to send this down low, but cut off by Phillips. Up the middle to Romanek. How's good Branson heading into that? Romanek, nifty dangle from 11. His shot turned aside. There's a bunch of commotion on the ice right now. Trent Thorsteinsson, a little nifty move to cut through. He pulls up, off the iron. Thorsteinsson goes so close to tying this one up after his team was reeling then. So can Grindle be big time again? He does. Good Branson tried to poke it through again, but couldn't. And now it's Vandenbush. He'll look to skate it in. Vandenbush makes his way through, and number 2 for 22 on this Sunday afternoon puts his Railer Express back up by 2 to officially seal this one away, I'd say, with 13.7 seconds left.
Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools in Brandon takes pride in selling the tools farmers and tradespeople rely on. Like our Winnipeg location, Brandon carries the same tools you know and love. From all the brands you can trust, all in one convenient place. And with unbeatable service, we'll make sure you get the right tools to get the job done. Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools in Brandon, proud to serve Brandon's industrial needs since 2018. Stop on by today at 358 Park Avenue East.
And welcome back to MMJHL Playoff Game Day. MMJHL fans here on this Friday night from Seven Oaks Arena in what's an elimination game. The second one in a row here for us here on the G-Show Productions U-Screen platform, as we called St. Boniface and St. Vital last night. The Riels eliminating the Vics. They become the first team out of the playoffs in St. Vital, as the MMJHL careers of 6 players, most notably Tyler Rubini and Rylan Etcherduke, end up coming to an end as they're 03-born players. A team with plenty of 03-born players, the Fort Garry Twins, looking to punch their ticket into the semifinal round for what would be the first time in over a decade, as mentioned. Be the first time since 2012-2013 that they'd make it through. As we get to the playoff bracket here in the MMJHL. 2-1 for the Canucks and 2-1 for the Charleswood Hawks in their series. And, well, for the Hawks, they're leading 4-1 right now despite being heavily outshot. Well, not heavily outshot, but outshot 20-11. As for Transcona, 6:56 remaining in the third over at Abe McDonald Arena. They're still up 3-1 over the St. James Junior Canucks as they look to tie that series at 2 apiece, descended to, well, Game 5, tied in the best of 7. As for the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, a much better period for them in the second, where they were able to put up 14 shots compared to the 5 that they put up in period number 1. As for Fort Garry, they were still able to put up over double digits in shots, getting to 14. But it ended up being a period where Fort Garry was outscored 2-1. Riley Kushner opening up the scoring for the Raiders in that period for their first goal, with his first of the postseason, assisted by Jackson Zook and Matthew Wilson. Carter Halamandaris retook the lead for the Twins on the power play shorthanded with what was his 5th of the postseason, his 2nd of this game. But Ryan Cromie, late in the period with under 2 minutes remaining, would put in his 3rd of the postseason, assisted by Mason Larveld as they attacked off the rush with great execution near the end of that second period of action. Into the third period, which is brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools. Will it be Fort Garry who gets the job done tonight? Or will it be the Raiders who send this one to a Game 5? Coming up on Sunday, if it's meant to be, at Century Arena in the evening, as the Raiders end up playing this to the point. That shot through and gloved down by McLeod as Hukert ripped it on net. As McLeod gets a stoppage here. Not even a minute gone yet in this period. 32 seconds to be exact, as the top line out for this Fort Garry Twins team. Draw lost by Gorchinski. Shot turned aside by McLeod. Shot taken by D'Souza. As The Twins work this to Balshaw. He works this to the middle for Gorchinski. Plays this to Halamandaris. Halamandaris over to Gorchinski. Tries to pull back, but instead fires down to Halamandaris. It'll be Cromie who gets this to Lorenko. He pulls up, fires cross ice to Larveld as Larveld makes his way through the zone into the Twins' end as that shot turned aside by McLeod. Garry on the backhand goes off the glass all the way out. That's onto Zook's glove as he passes that to Kennedy. No offside on the play. Kennedy down the left side, off the right pad of McLeod as number 30 on that right post. Tightly this time to make the save as that shot into the glove of McLeod floats a bit from the point from number 23 in Wilson. But as we got into the keys to the game for this one, and for this Raiders team, yeah, nothing to lose heading into this one. Look, you're a young team with no threes. This experience against who's been the best team in the league, no matter how the series goes, if you win a game or not, it's valuable experiences you can take away from it. And knowing that you're a young team that's been able to stick with this Twins team on the scoreboard through 40 minutes and counting so far, still tied at 2-2, has to give James Barkley's group more and more confidence as this one's going along. And maybe, just maybe, if you're able to pull out a win, you find some new life in this series. But for Garry, looking to squash all hope for this Raiders team to finish this one off tonight. This turned over into the body of Kushner. His shot turned aside by McLeod. Rebound there, Anderson turned aside again as the Twins survive a mispass or a misplay of the puck. As it's Hugan who takes it in. The backhand stripped away as it's Matani. His shot turned aside by number 30 and Banera. As it'll be to the glove hand side of number 30, scores! It's Hugan! Puts the Twins on top! Just like that, for Garry retakes the lead for a third time in this contest. The little things go a long way. It's a face-off win. Good traffic created in front off of the draw. And the tactic to have Hugan the top of that face-off circle pays off after Lizotte or Medwick wins it. As for number 8 in Rylan Hugan, welcome to game number 4 and number 8. Cycle brought to you by Micken Fasteners and Tools. So it's Hugan with his third of the postseason, assisted by Medwick. The man who won the draw to number 8. As this all the way down, no icing called on the play. As first one back on it, Johnson able to get this out. Medwick rubbed off the puck. And loosening his feet is Jared for this Raiders side. As the Raiders have responded before, how do they respond again? In this game now down 3-2 with nothing to lose, as we talked about. This down into the Fort Garry zone as it's played up to Rylan Hugan, the most recent goal scorer in this game. He gets rubbed off the puck there along the boards by Larveld, but good support by Medwick to get this back to the point. He also had Lizotte there to help. Rim down low. Nice behind the back pass to Lizotte, but that not looking. Didn't see the Raider there as Hedlund was covered. Well, he goes into the slot with that pass. That was Hedlund, but ended up misfiring as it goes all the way back down to the Fort Garry zone. Hedlund off of his stick all the way down. No icing called on the play. As delayed offside on the play for Rylan Hugan. Has to make his way back out of the zone where the Twins team can attack again. Twins top line out there. It's sent in by Halamandaris as he took a bump from number 7 in Zook. Wilson Plays this up to an outlet man who plays it across to Zook. His pass up ice sends up into the skate of Halamandaris. So turned aside as this Twin squad looks to work this up back into the Raiders zone. It's across number 17 in Larenko. Dishes this to Cromie, whose shot ends up high of the net. Cromie had the most recent goal for the Raiders in this one. Would have been sweet for them if he was able to capitalize there. Backhanded down low to D'Souza. Has that knocked away by Hedlund. But Hedlund fans on this to Larenko in the slot. Backhand towards the net. McLeod denies. As number 30 makes a key save. As this gets lobbed all the way down to the Raiders' end. Icing called with 14:58 remaining. It'll be a face-off draw inside the Twin zone. Rylan Hugin, number 8, with his third of the postseason to put his Twins back on top just moments ago at this point. A few minutes has passed. And this Raiders team has it in the Twins' end. That to the net by Zook. Gets blocked, ends up to Wilson, who scores, but the net off. So now both teams colliding and coming together to exchange some headshots with each other. So I believe the Twins, the response that they end up showcasing there is in response to Wilson shooting that puck after the whistle blows. It's about a few seconds afterwards, or a second afterward for Wilson when he shot that, as the net goes off for about a 4th time here tonight in this game. The Twins bench talking to the refs about something. You couldn't see it in, or from our vantage point. But the Raiders, if only the play could continue with the net being off, that would have been a goal for them. Instead, we remain at 3-2 in favor of the Twins. This into the slot, Neufeld off of his stick into the glove of number 23 in Wilson, who plays this off the boards. Long range pass down to Whiteside. Whiteside catches up to this, but just in time to make the defensive play was LaForge's in the corner. As it played D to D, now up to Whiteside as he chips that into the zone. Neufeld and Gilberto colliding with each other there. As this, a delayed penalty coming up for interference. Let's see who's going here. It will be Jace Matthews, so it sends this Raiders Junior Hockey Club team back onto the man advantage here. Their first of the period, the first penalty taken of this period, will be brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools. Ryan Cromie to take the draw. Larenko, Ash on the flanks with him. Larveld and D'Souza at the points. As a collision along the boards, Twins able to get it out. It's Lazat looking to chase it down, but Benera way out of his net to get to it first. As he played it to Larveld. The Twins already with a shorthanded goal in this game. It left to get another one to extend this lead for the Raiders, searching for that all-important game-tying goal right now. An elimination game down 3-0 in this best-of-7 Elite 8 series. Will they keep themselves alive here tonight? It could start here. It could go a long way on this power play advantage. As Jace Matthews is in the box. D'Souza over to Cromie, back up top to D'Souza at the left point, across to the right point. D'Souza gets it back, but off his stick. Didn't cradle that pass cleanly. Gets it back and sends it down low to Ash. Gets to Larveld. Of course, him and D'Souza switch sides on the point. Ash in. Good support. Rebound there off the chest of McLeod and cleared out by this Twin squad. 48 seconds remain. Benera stretches this up. Larenko just gets onside, gets knocked off that puck. Gorchinski, his pass to Halamandaris wasn't going to be onside, so Halamandaris plays it right back to Hedlund. Flips this on net into the Raiders zone as Benera leaves that for I believe number 23 in Wilson, as he fends off the stick check of number 22 in Halamandaris for a moment, but Halamandaris gets the last laugh as he whacks that away and into the neutral zone off of the stick of Wilson. 12 seconds remain now. Enerson to Zook. As the Raiders had just a few shots on that power play advantage, but go back to even strength. A great kill from the top seed in the Fort Garry Twins as Enerson plays this into the Twin zone. Hugan over to Gorchinski to Caligari, who goes over to Hedlund. Hedlund up to Gorchinski as this gets played to Halamandaris, looking for the Hattie, but instead goes off of a stick as this goes out of play. With 11:45 remaining, shots 35-26 in favor of the Fort Garry Twins. If not for that goal by Rylan Hugan, who's back onto the ice, scored off of a face-off draw, opposite side than this one, as this went to Hugan, and again his shot turned aside this time by Bonera. If not for that goal from Hugan earlier, we'd be tied, as it was tied 2-2. Heading into this third period of action. Thanks so much for tuning into this one if you are, and paying the $5 admission fee, by the way. This went to Hugan again. Spinorama from number 8 to Medwick. His shot wide of the net as Lazat plays it into the slot again. This is played out. As LaForge is onto the stick of Medwick, past the red line on the redirection in. It's taken away by this Raiders team in their own end. Spun around and sent in by number 24 and Noah Bonera. Is this taken away by the Twins? Up to Hugan. His shot. Oh, he has his pocket picked by Kushner into the slot. Scores! As the net looked like it was slightly off when that one went in, I'm not going to lie to you, but the Twins, they do not care as this one ends up standing for a goal. The refs ain't going to be calling it back. 4-2 for this Twin squad. Brought to you by Mick Fasteners and Tools with 11:02 remaining. It's just the support this team has on pucks is incredible. They get shot levels in all phases in the offensive zone. It seems in the slot there. Medwick on that level to put it home. He's now got a few points in this game, as it's a 4-2 lead for the defending champs. Could it be curtains in the next 10 minutes and 43 seconds for the Raiders? That off the post. It beat Bonera, but not his best friend there, as Larenko tries to feed this towards the net to Cromie. That now towards the net, trying to search for the loose puck, the Raiders, but unable to find it. The Twins found it first, as Johnson off the boards, up to Neufeld, off the mark and past number 9, so Zook controlled it back to his team. As that goal brought to you by McCann Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs in the province of Manitoba, with store locations in Winnipeg and in Brandon. Be sure to check them out today, as well as their website at mccanfasteners.shop. It's 50-50 being called. Speaking of 50-50, that's what our revenue split is. Your $5, 50% of it goes back to the MMJHL, as they profit from all of these streams in the MMJHL postseason here in 2025. As Larveld can catch up to that puck. Kennedy got it instead and gets turned down by number 30 in Jackson McLeod. 38-27 are the shots in favor of the Twins. And for Darian Medwick, the most recent goal scorer, it's his second of the postseason, assisted by Hugan and Luca LaForges. As for LaForges, ends up being his first point of his postseason career for the 2008-born defenseman. Wow, that's crazy to hear. That's 7 years younger than me. I feel like I'm getting older and older here. Only 23 years old, that's the kicker, but it's to Jared, goes D to D. To number 18 in Larveld, who circles back around his net, waiting a bit, surveying his options before he makes his way up ice, off the stick of Banera into the Twin zone. As the Twins get it back, Livingstone to Medwick. Medwick almost has that knocked off his stick by Banera. Banera now gets knocked down hard to the ice. No call coming up on the play. Here's Banera. Nice job to get up afterwards, recovering. Got it to Ash, but Ash couldn't get his pass through to Senchuk. Senchuk had that cut off, disrupted along the boards. Ash got it back, but has his pocket picked as number 2 in Hukert plays it up the wall and has that turned over to Livingstone. Livingstone tried to locate Hugin, but instead ends up down low in the Raiders' end. Rimmed around over to Larenko, as Larenko takes a bit of a whack there from number 8 in Hugin, as this gets rimmed around by this Raiders squad. Still kept in the Raiders zone, though, as Hugin trying to dangle his way through, meets the skate of Hukert instead, as the Raiders flip this one out into the feet of Matani now. So here come the Twins again. Newfall, all he can do is send this one in deep off the stick of Hukert, as Hukert goes D to D to Zook. Zook up to number 16 in D'Souza, as D'Souza ends up turning that over the center of the ice, but D'Souza snags it right back, plays this back into his own end as he tries to find Zook up ice, but pass didn't make it there for number 7 to receive. It is dazzling his way through the neutral zone. Johnson, his shot looked like it kind of took Banera by surprise as he turned that into the end boards. With 7:14 remaining here, puck in the neutral ice. Jace Matthews drops this back to Matani. As Matani looked up ice, but instead fired a D to Johnson, as Johnson feeds this up into the Raiders zone now. Play catch with the number 23 in Wilson, as Wilson hesitates, fires D to Zook, as Zook trying to feed this up towards the blue line. Doesn't get there, but Kennedy rips it on that right side. Glove down by Zook. No call coming up here on the play for hand pass or anything of that nature. Is a nice job by Scott Wong catching that pop fly. Toss it right back on the ice. Great reflexes there from the Twins bench boss. I was there 7:37 from closing this one out and the series in general. So they're looking for the sweep. What do the Raiders have left in them? Well, we're going to see in these next 6 minutes and 35 seconds now, as the clock has resumed and the Raiders possess in the Twin zone as Kushner turned aside with a low shot off the pad of number 30 in McLeod. As this gets rimmed around, Gorchinski cuts it off. Nice pass through the legs to Halamandaris. Puck first, I think, on that, and Halamandaris falls afterwards. As Gorchinski, upon entry into the zone, ends up having that taken away. Sent right back down, though, by the Twins. So they got on it right away. As the Raiders play D in their own end off the stick of Kushner, but turned over into Lazat's possession. Plays this right back down into the Raiders zone. As along the boards, Larveld struggling to make his way through. Hugin, Lazat, and Medwick all in the area. It's Lazat who dangles his way past. Powering through to the net, gets taken out. No penalty on the play here. That felt for sure more deserving of a call, but the refs letting them play here at Seven Oaks in the last 5 minutes, 24 seconds of this one. As time seemingly going slower and slower now. As Ash tried to get that over to Banera, but didn't make it to number 24. That past the skate of Wilson, misjudged it. It's Lazatsu coming down on him hard to take away that chance on the back check. That's a huge play that draws a penalty too at the end of it from Zook. Lazat ends up getting a whack on number 7 in the corner. A slash coming up to send the Raiders on to the man advantage in the late stages of this period. Brought to you by Mid-Canton Fasteners and Tools. As Larveld gets this to Larenko off the face-off lane. Larenko along the wall, tries to spin away from Matani, into the slot now! Cromie ends up having that blocked. A clutch one from the captain, Igor Chinsky. To Cromie again, his shot this time snagged by McLeod. Robbery from number 30. Only 18 seconds gone in this Raiders power play, as this draw won by the Twins, rimmed just hard enough out past D'Souza. Gets it right back as Cromie threads this through. Saucer pass, number 21 in Ash. Ash spins away from the check-in, gets it to D'Souza. Down low to the hash marks. To Cromie, back to D'Souza. Cross ice now, and now back again to D'Souza. That through a screen, tipped, and that turned aside by McLeod as he sprawled out to cover up all low parts of that left side of the Fort Garry goal. As Fort Garry go a long way here to securing a victory, for able to kill this one off with success. 19 straight victories heading into this game. I know it's a new season, but 16 victories heading in to the postseason, 3 to start off. They're just a few minutes away now, under 4, from punching their ticket through to play more playoff hockey into the next round. As it gets played up to the point, D-to-D, Larveld. That shot turned aside by McLeod. Number 30 steady here on a power play that has less than a minute left in it. Jace Matthews now. He'll look to break it into the zone. He does. Plays towards the net. Takes it to the net and denied by Venera. Strong to stay on that puck was number 16. It's a great shorthanded chance. Makes a simple play to advance himself up into the Raiders zone. Chips it through. Fends off the D. Shakes him off until the very end, as he basically had the Raiders defenseman on his back. But didn't matter for Matthews, as he still gets a shot on net. And most importantly, I think a face-off inside the Raiders zone. The chance for you to get 2 of your strongest players, arguably in this game, is what a move by Huging, but can't finish on the shot. So nifty, the big man with those silky mitts. 37 seconds. Counting down now to 0 on this Raiders power play. Gotta get one if you want your best chance to complete a third period comeback here. Maybe you can send it to OT. But with 20 seconds left at the point, that shot kicked aside by McLeod through the traffic that time. Making a timely and key save as Wilson sends this down low. Livingstone bumped off the puck. 6 seconds only remain now as Livingstone continues to battle, but knocked off that puck by number 8 in Kennedy. As Kennedy protects on the outside, we're back to even strength. That shot turned aside by McLeod again. Chipped out by the Twins. 2:38 remaining now on the clock. The Twins can taste it. The next round, so close, but still gotta finish the job here. Up by 2 as the Raiders pull their goaltender. Ends up to the slot. A Raider tripped up. No penalty coming on the play. It ends up back into their end, as they really got to push the play here. North-south, another player taken down. This not going to be called. It's a good no call there from the referees. Thought on the last one too. Looked really dramatic, and it was a good no call, as what a defensive block there by number 27 in Cromie. The forward not wanting to give up that empty goal just yet. That empty net goal, as I should say. As it ends up in the slot. Hugin has a man ahead in Medwick, but couldn't handle that puck long enough to get a pass off. 1:42 on the clock. Is this still in for this Raiders team? Larenko, DeCromy ends up banking off the boards up to the point. Larville blocked up. Belshaw fans on that clear-out attempt. Hugan dumps that man who took it away in the neutral zone, and Zook fighting ensues as Zook, someone dropping a glove. I believe it's a Twin. It's a bit of mayhem ensuing near the Raiders bench, and Hugan giving a really interesting gesture towards the Raiders bench players right now. Hugan's going to go off for the rest of this game here as he's kicked out. A minute 23 remaining. Gorchinski right now having a word with the referee about what exactly just happened, what's being called. It's going to be a Twins player. I think it could be anyone either on the ice or on the bench. Yes, on the bench that can serve a penalty. It'll be never mind. Thought Lizotte was heading towards the penalty box. And maybe we don't even have any penalties coming up here, as no players are going to the boxes right now. They may just be taking their time to see who goes. It'll be Noah Bonera who goes for the Raiders, so there's one. Oh, interesting. It will be the Twins who go onto the power play here, so unless something spectacular happens, the Raiders close to having their season officially coming to an end here, as in danger of being swept. The Twins, I'm sure, just looking to control this puck on the power play. Playing some keep away here in the last minute or so. As we're 1:08 left in this third period of action. Halamandaris whips this across to the left face-off circle to Gorchinski. Is that shot wide of the net from the point by number 6 in Johnson. Halamandaris now dazzling to the net. That backhand couldn't pull it out wide enough to beat number 30 in Bonera. As I guess the Twins still looking to attack the net. And we got a player or players of this caliber. I mean, why not? Gives them more confidence heading into the next round. You pretty much got the game won, but you'd love to have one more insurance goal. Makes the numbers look even better. And Halamandaris, with one of the best skill sets in this league, especially with the puck, dazzles his way through the Raiders defense. Just couldn't finish in tight. Before this Raiders Junior Hockey Club team, you have to expect that this team will be back in the playoff mix again next season as they pull the goalie. It's on the 5-on-5 now in the high slot. Zook, his shot turned aside by McLeod as he cuts down the angle while Cullen up in his crease aggressively. As a timeout to this Raiders Junior Hockey Club side for James Barkley and his group. So yeah, for the Raiders, I mean, they had nothing to lose heading into this one. They're going up against a team that's ready to win a championship now, and they may be a few years away, maybe even a year away. Next season's going to be a different year. They got some quality players that very well could be making their way back. Nathan Lanowski, they haven't had him for a long time in the season. I've checked the lead prospects, checked everywhere, and I'm not sure if it's just an injury. I haven't heard anything, but that's a big-time player that they missed in this series, which if they get him back next year, that's huge too. But Yeah, for a Twins team that they've been waiting since 2012, 2013 for this moment. 25.9 seconds remaining. The goalie pulled for the Raiders in a last-ditch effort here. Draw one by the Raiders. D'Souza along the boards. Ends up getting this to the point to Wilson. It was number 27, and Crone who did so, but that shot was wide of the net. 15 seconds remain now. Larenko gets it free to the point. Maybe one more chance there for the Raiders, but blocked up by the Twins, rimmed out. And just like that, for Garry fans, your Twins are off to the second round, the Final Four, into the semifinals for the first time since 2012-2013. Congratulations to Scott Wong, his coaching staff, and this group of fine young men for this Fort Garry Twins side, who, of course, they'll be facing off against the lowest seed remaining in the next round, as they are the top seed. Bracket gets reseeded in the Final Four. As for the Raiders, their dream to shock the MMJHL world officially dies here tonight, as it was going to take a lot punching above their weight for them to be able to win this series, and then some, because look, this Twins team is loaded. They're ready to go and ready to go on a run. And look, once you got one playoff series win under your belt, I feel like it could become infectious. You want more of it, and the stakes get higher in the Final Four, with a chance now to play in a best of seven in the Jack McKenzie Trophy, in play for this Twins team still. The dream continues for them. And of course, the 2024-2025 comes to an end for the Raiders. They join the Victorias as another team eliminated, the second team to be eliminated in as many nights. Second night in a row, we've seen an elimination game. As for Garry, we'll await, the other two series to see how they play out. So we'll give you an update on those scores right now, as it's the Transcona Railer Express, the final in their game, 4-1 win over the St. James Junior Canucks. As for the Hawks, 5-2 win, or 5-2, they're up right now with 7:25 remaining in the third period over Stonewall. As we see there, the salute from the Raiders Junior Hockey Club to their fans, thanking them for coming out and for supporting them this season. But yeah, I think for the Raiders next year, I have to see what happens, but they could very well be a team that could even rise up in the standings next year, depending on who returns from this group. They got quality players coming back that ideally like to bring as many players back as possible, and then, of course, maybe do some work and add in some more talent.
Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools in Brandon takes pride in selling the tools farmers and tradespeople rely on. Like our Winnipeg location, Brandon carries the same tools you know and love. From all the brands you can trust, all in one convenient place. And with unbeatable service, we'll make sure you get the right tools to get the job done. Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools in Brandon, proud to serve Brandon's industrial needs since 2018. Stop on by today at 358 Park Avenue East.
Funny enough, just had a fan come up for me from the Raiders, and yeah, always great to know if people are interested and that people are paying attention to the work we're doing here in the Manitoba hockey scene. But yeah, as for the Raiders, I mean, this could be a team that takes a big jump in the standings next season. But as for this year, Season ends up coming to an end. 4-4 Garry Twins team that's ready to go and ready to win now. This was a great performance from them as this game went along. Faced a bit of adversity with the Raiders keeping this close and having it tied up heading into the final 20 minutes of this one. But as great teams do, they find ways to win. And as for the Twins, they found ways to win in more ways than one in their last 20 games. They've extended their win streak dating back all the way to December to 20 games now, extending their postseason win streak to 4 games as well. I'm sure they'd love to get to 7 at some point. But yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see if this winning streak continues. They now punch their ticket into the Final Four. St. James now tied 2-2 with the Railer Express and the Hawks and Jets, while the Hawks on their way to going up 3-1 in that series for themselves, with the chance to close things out on Sunday in a game which we may have for you on the network. We may just have for you, but we haven't sorted out all the details yet. Be sure to stay tuned on the website, mmjhl.ca, as well as we'll have information on our Uscreen service coming up tomorrow on if we are going to be calling that game, as we're also going to be calling St. James and Transcona. But as for the players of the game in this one tonight, we'll start off with the losing side in terms of the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools. I'm going to give it to number 9 in Riley Kushner, the 06 born forward. Thought he showed a lot of grit, a lot of great determination in this game tonight. Got rewarded with that first goal of the game, created some good chances off the forecheck, and was dangerous when he got his opportunities. Could be a key player for the Raiders going down the line here. Congratulations to him on a successful rookie season, and he gets player of the game tonight in the loss, brought to you by McKenna Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. Be sure to visit their website at mccannonfasteners.shop, as well as checking out their 2 store locations in either Winnipeg or Brandon today. As for Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia's player of the game for the winning side in the Fort Garry Twins, it's between 2 or even 3 players for me tonight that I've been kind of thinking of giving the player of the game to, but we're going to give it to, I think, Carter Halamandaris. I mean, a shorthanded goal ends up picking up the trash in front created by David Balashaw on a nice dangle attempt, and Halamandaris, right place, right time. But he can beat you in so many ways. He showcased that again tonight. Fantastic shot. Unbelievable set of hands. He has 2 goals, one of them shorthanded in a multi-point night for number 22, as I should say, as he now has 5 goals in the playoffs, and of course leads this Twins team in points heading into the Final Four, where they're going to need their best players to be their best players. As this player of the game for the winning side, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. Be sure to visit their 1-store location here in Winnipeg at 995 Miltz-Eagle Drive, as well as their website at cancentralsportscards.com. But as for the Twins, like I was just saying, they're going to need their best players to continue to be their best players into the next round. Their supporting cast to continue to come up big time, and when you're able to also play your backup goaltender in Jackson McLeod, and he comes up big time with some big stops tonight, you got to feel confident too with Alex Pauls also in your net. Will they be facing off against the Riels next round? Will it be maybe a lower seed? The Canucks, the Jets? We'll have to wait to find out as the MMJHL Playoffs roll along. Our next game comes on Sunday afternoon. Transcona Railer Express taking on the St. James Junior Canucks in what should be a packed house for Game 5 on Sunday afternoon at East End Arena. Until then, everybody, I've been your host and play-by-play commentator, Graham the G-Show Forsyth. Thank you again for paying $5 to watch this game here tonight. Thank you to Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terrico Goaltenders, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia for also sponsoring tonight's action once again. The Twins, they're moving on, breaking the curse tonight for the first time into the Final Four since 2012-2013. Been a long time coming, and they had to fight to win this one. Tied 2-2 heading into this final frame, and they come up big time doing what this team has done so well, and that's closing out games, extending their win streak to 20 in total, 4 in these playoffs. How much longer will it go? Well, we'll find out next round as the Twins await their next opponent. Take care, everybody. Good night. Thanks for choosing G-Show Productions on Uscreen.